Your intellectual property is what dreams are made of, or probably more accurately is what your business is made out of. So what is it exactly? Should you protect it? How do you protect it? How much does it cost to protect it? Erin Best is a partner with the law firm Stewart McKelvey and is an expert in intellectual property law and joins me here today. Hi, Erin.
Hi, Ronnie.
What exactly is intellectual property?
I'll probably give you a short answer and then give you some examples.
Okay.
That'll make it easy to understand. So intellectual property is essentially a system of rights that's set up so that people can own, buy, sell, license intangible creations. So what many people think of when they think intellectual property are things like songs, books, plays, other creative arts like that, but actually it's much, much broader than that. It covers pretty much everything on the internet, first of all. That's not public domain, and I'll explain what that is if you like.
Let's touch on that.
So with respect to copyright, something enters the public domain 50 years after the death of the author, or the creator. Some people think that everything that's on the internet is in the public domain because people have shared it on the internet. So that's completely false. So the regular copyright rules apply. It's just anything that the author created and the author's passed away more than 50 years. Some other things on the internet that they're not public domain, but they have a non-restrictive public license would be sometimes you'll see things posted on the internet that say that the copyright is free, or that there's no license fee required, those sorts of things. So just to go back to what I was saying is covered by copyright, pretty much everything on the internet. And also all coding, so the actual coding for software, and that's just copyright. So then you have trademark, which would be all the logos, slogans, popular business names, and then there's industrial design. That can be a shape of a product, and then there's patent, which is essentially, you think of an invention would be covered by a patent.
So it's quite a broad spectrum.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's actually more that I haven't covered.
Right.
But those are the popular ones.
Well, we'll post some of that additional information on our website for our viewers to find after our interview. But how do you protect it? You talked about trademark and copyright and patent. Are those the three main ways or avenues that you can protect your IP?
So they're different for each area. So first of all, with the trademark that area is very important to protect. I'm a trademark agent, and there are a few other trademark agents in Newfoundland and Labrador. Essentially, the best way to protect your trademark is to register it with the Federal Registry. If you do not do that, you still have some protection based on how much you've used it in the very specific geographic location where you've used it.
But you'd have to prove that, right?
You would have to be able to prove that, and it can be very difficult to prove as well. If someone else in the country is using it in their geographic location and then they file the registration, what the registration entitles you to is use right across the whole country. So if it expands your geographic location from wherever you are, say, St. John's, to the entire country of Canada. So that's one of the main benefits there. Also, it helps you if you do need to prove that you're using your mark. There are other ways under the Trademarks Act that would help you to prove that.
So it's a protection from a content perspective and ownership. For an entrepreneur, what other key benefits are there in having this in place?
Well, the key benefit with respect to the trademark, so your business name essentially, is that if you've registered it, then it's very unlikely that, for example, you will receive a cease and desist letter asking you to rebrand your entire operation.
Which can be very expensive.
It is very expensive, and they also usually are accompanied by settlement demands. because if you're using a trademark, the name of your business, your signage, whatever, that somebody else in the country has rights to and has better rights than you, then unfortunately, perhaps you weren't aware, but you are probably infringing their trademark, in which case they may be able to claim against you for damages as well. And this happens really frequently, especially here in St. John's.
So a lot of people are consultants. They will develop content or training or things like that. Should they have this in place for the content that they're developing as well?
So what you're talking about is subject to copyright protection more so. The branding aspect of it would be subject to trademark protection, but a training program, certain elements of that would be subject to copyright protection. So what you'd want to do to protect those, it's not a registration format, it's completely different. It has to do with having the proper licensing agreements in place.
So there's 3 different avenues that basically, is it accurate to say that businesses should be looking at that through that lens on everything?
Yeah, well, absolutely every business has to be concerned with some form of IP. I mean, everyone has a business name, and so the trademark element is crucial for everyone. Obviously, you build up goodwill in your business name, and that's the whole point of all promotion and marketing that you do. And therefore, if you were forced to suddenly change it, you would lose all that promotion and goodwill, which actually is worth quite a bit. In terms of the copyright, depending on the business, that can be of differing importance. And but there's usually some copyright protected content that every business owns and probably relies on. Additionally, you certainly want to make sure you're not infringing other people's content, because again, you may receive a nasty letter in the mail.
It certainly sounds like it's more expensive to clean it up after the fact than it is to go down that road and have the right protections in place before you have a brand or develop content.
Yeah, for sure.
Erin, I know we are just scratching the surface on this topic, but thank you so much for coming in and talking about intellectual property today.
Thanks for having me, Ronnie.